Okay, let's pick up where we left off with correlation. We've got our plot. We know that there's a very strong linear relationship here, so I'd like to go ahead and create a linear model. Well, in order to create a line, we need a couple of different components. The slope is one of them, and the y-intercept is one of them. You guys probably remember slope-intercept form from when you're in algebra class. These are two major components that we need in order to graph a line. Okay, so if I want to compute the slope for my model, I say equals, and I start typing slope. You'll see it's an autocomplete option there, or I can just type it all the way in and open parentheses. And notice this time I'm not going to do the x's and then the y's, but it tells me known y's, known x's. Okay, so first thing I do is I grab my known y's, comma, and then my known x's. Now it tells me that, okay? So don't freak out that you're doing it backwards. It's telling you there that that's what it wants in the arguments. So if I execute that, there's a slope of 3.166 approximately, okay? Now I need my y-intercept. So I say equals, and I start typing intercept. And there you go as an autocomplete option. I hit tab. And again, known y's, known x's. So known y's first, and then known x's. Close my parentheses and execute, and my y-intercept is negative 55.79. Okay, if I wanted to graph this on the chart, there's a couple of different ways I can do it. One, if I click on my chart, I get my plus here, and I can add a chart element. If I click on that, down here trend line is one of the things that I can add. Okay, I also can right click on one of my data points, and add trend line is one of the options. Okay, so I can add trend line. Alright. So if I want to display the equation on my chart here, there's a couple of things I can do. I'm just going to click on my chart, so my chart tools come up. And under design, there's add chart element. I can go down here to trend line. And I can choose the type of function I want to use. We're just doing linear. Okay? But if I select more trend line options, unfortunately this menu is going to come up to the right of my screen, and so you can't see it. But you'll see the trend line options come up, and you'll see a little click box for display equation on chart. And if you click that, that comes up. Okay, so you're looking for display equation on chart. If you select that, your equation will come up right there. Right? So the way that this works is, this is my y-intercept. This is if x was equal to 0, what would y be? Right? And that's negative 55.79 in this case. Sometimes our y-intercept has a very solid physical interpretation. In this case it doesn't, because what would x be? What would it mean for x to be 0? It means the club head is 0. Club head speed is 0. It means you didn't swing the club, so it doesn't make sense that it would go backwards, right? That's because it's so far out of the predicted range. It doesn't make sense in terms of not swinging a golf club, right? So again, to reiterate, our models are effective relatively close to the range in which we have data. And the slope, what it means is for every 1 unit x increase, what would y change by? So if I swing the club, for every mile per hour I swing the club faster, I get 3 more yards on my drive. So if I swing the club 5 miles an hour faster, I get 15 more yards on my drive. Right? Does that make sense? So that's a quick rundown on regression. I expect that y'all will use a form of technology to do this. Don't do it with the long algebraic formulas by hand. Be using Microsoft Excel or your calculators.